I don't know. That is apparently something close to Raag Marwa, but probably not quite there. Now, here's the thing today. I want to look at this, le Sacre du Soleil, Invaincu, with a album cover that, fortunately, thanks to Neptunian Maximalism, is not full of naked people like their previous release Solar Drone Ceremonies cover was. So it's very fine to show. Now, you may notice upon looking at these titles that what we have is a Raag Marwa, and then Raag Todi, and then Raag Bairagi. Okay. It looks like this whole album is three different rags. Two with 4 movements, one with 3. And we're therefore looking at some Hindustani classical music going in here. Now, I am not an aficionado of Indian classical music, Hindustani or Carnatic or otherwise, but I have come across it, I have a passing understanding of it, and I've been doing some homework. Having a look at, say, for instance, this. Oh, goodness me, I always mess up the view on web pages. Let's try again. So here we have some stuff on Raag Marwa. I'm just going to make myself more scarce. What have we got? Swar, which is another word. And then lots of other words. Now, understanding that is quite difficult. Apparently it's a very melodious rag. Rishabh and Daivat are considered Vadi and Samvadi notes respectively, and therefore these notes are highly emphasized. Which notes are they? This is not quite as clear to me, but here we have some more information that says Rishabh is basically like Re if you're in C major. But really interestingly, we actually have a South Indian and a North Indian system, which are different. South Indian, you can see that we have potentially 3 different notes for Rishabh, although it says Rishabham, doesn't it? So maybe that's different. Whereas we only have 2 for this North Indian style. So it's either D flat or it's D in C major, given, that is our root, which may not be the case. So yeah, and then the other one, Daivat, which is, an A flat or an A. So if let's say we've got D and A, those ones are the most important notes. The D is given extra weight. Let's see, we've got a sort of drone of C, because this does happen in Indian classical music. You get a drone note, and then we get that over the top. Maybe it drops briefly and then goes back up to the D. Maybe it means that these notes are not actually used as much though. Maybe it means that they are rarer and then therefore highly emphasized and used as nyas swar. Nope. No idea. Raag Puriya is similar to Raag Marwa, but in Raag Puriya, Gandhar and Nishad are more emphasized. Well, we're not going to look at that, but they are, again, two different notes, the Ni and the Ga, or let's say it's the E and the B. So the 3 and the 7. Not very easily expandable. Okay, sorry, I did miss this. The skipping of Shaj, which is, yeah, our first one, C. Skipping of C. That's quite cool, isn't it? Just never getting back to the root. We're going to find out that this is not what this rock sounds like very soon, but it does sound nice in a major. Skipping in Aro Avro and Alpatva of Gandhar and Nishad is observed in this rag. Okay. I don't know what Alpatva is, but again, Gandhar and Nishad are notes. Okay, this rag is not very easily expandable. This rag is mostly rendered in Madhya Saptak. Nope. Raag Marwa instigates the feeling of detachment or renunciation from the pains and pleasures of the material world. Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. And then illustrative combinations are... Now, this is definitely in relation to these notes. Okay. We've got Sa and Ni, S, N, D. So D is Da. So we're clearly going through those notes, or at least that's what I take it to mean. But I don't know what the semicolons are. I don't know what the commas are. So, whoops. So we're at a bit of a loss there, which is a shame. And I couldn't find anything specific on here very easily understood that would tell me what the commas were. But this is pretty useful because this is giving different ways of writing the different notes, which is useful. Over here we have another Wikipedia page about Marwa the Raag. And yeah, so this one is interesting. It says time of day sunset over here. And as we see over... Oh, actually, you're not going to be able to see that. What do I need to do? As you can see over here, this one's at dusk. So, pretty similar idea. Wow, that's not right. Okay, there we go. At dusk, which is basically sunset, isn't it? So that's interesting. And it also says here, yeah, this is a Santya Prakash Raga of Sandhya Kalin Samai. This means that it is sung during dusk hour. So there we go. We're looking at dusk. Now, it is 9 o'clock over here, so there's a chance I'm not really going to get the most out of it that I should. But interesting that going along with the feeling of detachment or renunciation from the pains and pleasures of the material world. I think that's a really nice thing to be associated with dusk. Just throwing it away. Ready for the next day, ready for a sleep. Nice. But this, yeah, anyway, has... we have Aroha and Avaroha, which I believe are, yeah, so ascending. So Aroha or Arohana is... I mean, the stress might be totally different. But anyway, it's upwards. It's upwards, whereas Avarohana is descending downwards, okay? And one of the quite special things about rags in comparison to scales is that they are different on the way up and the way down. And also, on the way up and the way down, they can have diversions. So it doesn't necessarily take a full full directionless upwards. I guess that's one. A unilateral direction upwards. Sometimes it dips down for one note and then goes back up, this kind of thing. So let's see what we've got here. We've got ni, re, ga, ma, ta, ni, re, s, which I take to be sa. Now, this is interesting, and this goes with what we've got here quite helpfully. So we start on ni on the way up, and it's not ni underlined, it's ni with a little thing. Yeah, I don't know what those are, which is annoying because they're used quite clearly to mean something quite important. Nonetheless, ni suggests is B here, okay? I know it does say this, and I've had a look at that, and I just want to clarify that that's the case by reading it from this other page. Re, but re underlined, so D flat. So B to D flat. That is quite weird. Then we have ga, ga, without an underline, so that's E. B, D flat, E. Well, this is, I mean, if that was a C sharp instead of a D flat, this would be pretty straightforward. Etc. That would be pretty straightforward and comfortable for us, but for some reason they call it a D flat. Well, I'm sure all will be revealed. Now this is a shame because we've got a ma, and we've got it with an overline, but there isn't an example of that here. Let's assume it's this, because that's what this says anyway. This says F sharp. But that, I mean, maybe that's an attempt to do an overline. I don't really know, but whatever. Let's say it's that. Interestingly, there's a pa here, and we don't have a pa in this one, which is a shame. The fifth is entirely missing, but we've gone B, D flat, E, F sharp. I guess you say. Then it says da 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 da, which yeah, I've studied a very small amount of Hindi, so I think yeah, when you have an H afterwards, it's like with a little bit of air with the sound, so da rather than da, I guess. That's my best interpretation. And ni, yeah, so we've got a non-underlined da, so that looks like A, although we have a weird B there, I'm not sure about that. But then we have a ni, which is also not underlined, so again a B. So we've had that, which is like a particular position of the pentatonic scale. So not that weird actually. And then after the re, after the ni is a re with a line under. That's our D flat again. So we've actually done over an octave now. And then the last one, unexpectedly, is our sa, or a s, C. Wow. That's pretty weird. That's pretty weird ending on that C there. Let's say that's our drone, because for some reason, it must be, it's the tonic. Then we go. Is that right? No. Yes. Right? Wow. Weird. I say weird. Just an unexpected noise. Quite a discordant noise to my ears. Those notes sort of B and D flat, the closest to that C without being it. So very uncomfortable, close connection without resolution. And then it only resolves when we get to the top. Anyway, coming down, then we're going Re, which is, as we know, D flat, Ni, Da. Sorry, is that right? No, yes, there, sorry. So Re, Ni, Da, Da, Ma, Ga, Re, Ni, Da. And then that's a slightly different Da because it's got a not quotation mark. What are they even called? I can't even remember. That's really throwing me for a loop. But anyway, we get Da, and then we get to Sa after that. Crazy stuff. Okay, it says the Ma is actually Ma Tivratara, which is a perfect fourth above Re Komal. Okay, so let's see if we can make sense of that on any of this. Tivra, Ma Tivra. Okay, surely F sharp then, which is a perfect fourth above Re Komal. Oh, which is a D flat. Yeah, no, D flat. Oh no. Hang on. That's not perfect fourth though, is it? Is it? I suppose it is. D flat to F sharp. It's a weird way of saying it though. Wow. Yeah, so each time we come to that C, it's really, from what I intuit, as a very, very different harmonic situation. Now, harmony is not really big in Indian classical music, really. Drones are the name of the game. As you come, more into, let's say, Bollywood and things like that, we do get slightly more of the chord movement happening. But I think in Hindustani music it's pretty much not the case. Yeah, there are a few other things that thing says that are interesting. I mean, there's a lot that's interesting, but it's hard to take apart because there's not actually a lot of clarification of terms without using different pages, which I think is probably a cunning thing that Wikipedia has done to make sure you go to more pages. Yeah, this rag includes Tivra Madhyam and Kamal Rishab and Pancham. The fifth note is totally varjit or prohibited. Okay, so that's the one that we don't have here, which would be that G. Now that's interesting, that's perfect fifth above the C, and we only get the C right at the end of both of the versions of the scale, or both of the rags, the up and the down, the Arohana and the Avarohana. So that's interesting. Gosh. Yeah, there's so much on here. There was one other thing I was thinking of saying, but I have lost it now. Ni is not a leading note to Sa, so you can't go from the 7 to the 8. Because Sa is omitted, Ni leads to Re or Da, down like that, Re, so Ni to Da, or Ni to Re, and then only to Sa, and then only to Sa. So you can can have that, or you can have, but you can't have. Anyway, I think at this point it's probably worth listening to this music and seeing if we can pick up on any of that in this first one. Again, Alaap and Vilambit, Laya, Alaap. I can more or less work on Unisson, composition and dream chord, but the first two, no. I'm not expecting full Hindustani classical music from this, by the way. These are some experimental musicians. We will see what amount we get. And to be honest, we're just going to try and interpret this music on its surface, as it presents to us. Okay. So far, creepy noise. You're sort of getting a few notes through. Something like a slightly sharp one of those. Maybe one of those. But yeah, it's sort of forming a drone, but it's a little bit quivery. As well. G sharp. Sounds like both of those. Yeah, sounds like a G sharp major chord or an A flat major chord, with some other creepy things going on. So that seemed to change from B to B, from C to C flat there. Okay, building, isn't it? It's building. Getting louder. It's ever evolving. It feels right in the ears. It feels like it's giving me some ghost notes because of all the blah 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 blah. Okay, a whole lot louder. Still building. Like it's not it's not a linear build, is it? It's a swell. It's more swells. They swell to some degree and then come back. And it's again not even linear in that respect, because different parts are swelling at different times. I wonder how they created this noise. Okay, it's the loudest it's been. Going back down. Sort of like three layers to the music to some degree. There's this pretty solid drone. The drone, yeah, still somewhere around an A flat. Let's just check I'm in tune. Yeah, pretty much. Somewhere around an A flat is just holding. There's not too much swell in that, and then there's some things that I'm feeling more in the right speaker in this kind of range, kind of around there, that E flat, which are definitely swelling and coming back down, and they're quite a blunt mid-range sound. Not hiss, with all that hissy stuff. And then there is a more dynamic thing, more associated with the left speaker to me. And that is also swelling and sort of maybe with a filter sweep or something morphing the sound as it continues. Yeah, so those higher parts are coming in and out. The mid-range is pretty much constant. It's almost like a gong being hit. Like a gong being hit in a dungeon 500 feet down, and you just hear the extra rumblings. You don't hear the initial crash. So far, it seems like most of my study has been in vain. But this is exciting nonetheless, isn't it? Very uncomfortable sort of mood, but also soft. Yeah. Somewhere around an A for that hit. Dum. Just out of nowhere. Quite a soft hit, really, but loud nonetheless, and disruptive of the mood that has been built up for the first 2.5 minutes. But then it settles, comes back to how it is. Ooh. I think that's a new note, that B flat there. Ooh. Off in the distance. Ooh. Now we've come to mainly the low. It seems to be centered around a B now. Maybe a bit flatter. Something like that. Another big hit. Okay, this is reminding me of the Ethel Cain one this at the beginning of the year. It's kind of well, almost acousmatic kind of thing. Okay. Well, and there we have it, don't we? Yeah, again, not quite in the pocket of 12 tone, equal temperament, but then why should it, sorry, A equals 440, that's what I'm talking about. Why should it be either of those things? But it looks like somewhat a B flat chord. Here it comes again. Big, strong, long noise. Yeah. Guitar sound, obviously. Electronic guitar. Okay, well that's definitely a drone, isn't it? We've also got some, I think, trumpet in there. Quite low trumpet. Yeah, it's slightly sharper than that B flat, isn't it? Somewhere in between B and B flat. But we've still got no melodic element at all. I'm going to turn it down slightly just so I don't have to shout to be heard over the top. Let's see if that does it. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Okay. Slightly more discordant stuff there. Hard to pick apart, but maybe some A as well as B flat. Fizzles out and leaves us with mainly that B. Although, yeah, there's still some battering, isn't there? Another hit, but that one felt more like it was in the bass. It didn't feel like the other instruments hit so hard. Maybe there was another gong hit a long way away. But also, we've got a bit of a change of harmony just there. Yeah, so we were around there. Now we're around there. So we were around B flat. Now we're at E. Still with no real thirds, but yeah, those two. I mean, that's some more harmony than I was expecting. And that's the otherworld shift, as I like to think of it. Like you have the B flat, and you have the E on the horizon, and then they miss each other by a wormhole or something. I don't know. Anyway, we've changed perspective to the other world, which nonetheless has a lot of the same instruments. Yeah, lots of E. Oh. Okay, there's our first set of extra notes. That's interesting. F sharp and G. Okay. Now from the Raag that we looked at, there really aren't any semitonal intervals except when we're going to the Sa, and then it should come down to it rather than go up to it. That's what we saw. So doesn't seem like what we looked up. Nonetheless, let's carry on. It still sounds nice. Yeah, giving us a third as well, that G. Yeah, such interference. Womp, womp, womp. Okay, big old D major chord. It's feeling a little bit like someone let a Guitar Hero do a whole thing just by themselves, and the others, bow to their will. We're 5 minutes in. It's been a fun mood build, hasn't it? But that D major is a little bit of a buzzkill for me. Yeah, and lots of interference with the signal, so it keeps dropping and coming back and coming back. Though at that point it might actually just be some strums that have been sort of lost the sound, and it's just ba 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 ba. Interesting. Anyway, we had a bit of a scrape there. Where are we going now? A, and it feels like a sort of A add 9, A sus 2, this kind of thing. Quite an open sounding chord. Still got those trumpets, maybe just one trumpet, ringing around the atmosphere. That's coming through in squealing extra stuff. That's fun. Pardon me. Now, there's definitely 2 trumpet type things, maybe 1 a horn, but doo-doo. Are we back in E? It didn't quite feel like it to me. Well, those are the main notes I can pick up on now. Not getting anything else out of the fog. Maybe a C. So it's something like that. Could well be. Well be. Yeah, something like that. Low B on the guitar, which is bent up to a C. Okay. Again, with lots of interference. It's fun. Okay, everything's simmered down. Sort of feels like B a B power chord now. Maybe with an E, maybe with a G in there. Interesting. Oh, back to D. But yeah, that time we've got a really strong E coming through. So it's like this open fifths. Not so much of the third this time. And they're held for so long, it's a treat to hear how the sounds evolve. There's a little bit of feedback coming in on the guitar on the right. Okay, a little bit of crazy strumming. Okay, and that was back to E with a bit of a maybe an overshoot by the trumpet, or maybe a deliberate bit of tension with that flat 6. So far, not much Raag. So we went back to E, and then we went to F sharp with a D in it. So maybe that's just another D chord, but that's definitely not how it feels. We have such a heavy F sharp. It's really, well, it's nice, and it has a very different feeling, a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, as it clears there, we really do just have those 2 notes, and then those 2 notes, A and E, so another power chord. A little bit of F in there. Okay, that's the end of the first one. Yeah, just pulsing this long held A and E. And as we got to the next one, we got a little bit of C sharp in there as well, giving us a sudden change to a final major chord. Now, okay, well, disappointment in that we didn't get any Raag in there that we could see. What notes did we get? We got E, D, C, B. We got F sharp and a little bit of F. And we got G. Yeah. It's just not quite the same, is it? Like maybe that F could be our root note, but we never had an F chord. We had a lot of E chords. Oh, and we also had B flat and A, didn't we? So, well, that's the rundown of notes. That's quite a lot of notes. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different notes. It's more than 7. Is there any way I can sell this as a Raag? I don't really think so. Never mind. It was still nice, wasn't it? It was well, I want to say Sun-esque noisescapes with a lot of distorted guitar, occasional movement to different chord centers, but very little overall movement going on, except in the pulses and the interference, making each different instrument come and go in the texture. All right, next half then, or next quarter. This is the longest quarter of this one, and it seems to start loud. Let's see. Okay, and we're back to B flat. Most importantly, drums. That makes a big difference, doesn't it? Now we've got a real sense of rhythm, which actually was pretty much bereft in the previous one. The previous one was bereft of it. Don't know if the first way is an acceptable way of speaking. If it is, please let me know. Aha! Okay, actually quite an extensive kit. Some unusual cymbal or high-pitched sounds coming through already. And yeah, what about that bit of melody? Hooray! Well, so far we are in a place that could be our Raag. Could be Raag Marwa. Really slow rhythm though, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now annoyingly, that E there, well, it could be in our thing, actually. Not annoyingly. It's not ruled it out straight away. So yeah, the slow beat most of the time it's not even that slow, to be fair. Let's just check what it is. Tap tempo.io. Okay, it's about 60. Maybe a little higher, maybe 63, 64. About 60. It's quite slow. And mainly the drums are just coming on those beats. And then we've got a little bit of extra stuff coming in the middle of some of them. Like some cymbal rolls kind of things are going on now. Okay, that's quite a fun thing to do with the guitar. Just slide a power chord all the way up an octave. It sounds fun. Okay. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's just down to a really low B flat at the bottom, and it's so low and hit quite hard, so the strings they bend up to a B and then come back down. But we're extending the Raag. This is something that is kind of done, as far as I am aware, as I believe to be done. Not that familiar, but I'm going to tell you it is. From my perspective, given the lack of understanding I have, feel free to ignore it. But what I understand is that you sort of get into a Raag slowly. Okay, so they started on the first note, expanded to, well, and the first note is actually, let's say, the last note, the tonic, expanded to that one higher. What did we call that again? We called it the... Give me a minute. We called it the Rishab. No, yes, the Rishab. Rishab. The Rishab, the Ra. Okay, oh, the Re, sorry, Re. Well, it was D flat and C, but as we're kind of in, well, B flat here, shall we say it's A sharp? That'll be novel, but kind of, yeah, we've got that, well, B in A sharp or C flat if we're in B flat. We've got that, and then we went one further. Not E. Oh, I called it an E previously. It's a D. It's a D. It's definitely a D. In A sharp, I guess it would be a C double sharp. So yeah, all right. Let's stick to B flat. We've got there a C flat and a D. and then we got the B hiding underneath. Ah, it's not a B. Ah, I'm still thinking of it in C major, but no, it's an A going up to the B flat, and that's the C. And it did do it the right way. It didn't go from the undernote, which is the ni, isn't it? It didn't go from ni to sa. It went from ni to da. No, ni to re, and then to sa. Okay, so he's expanding it, and then we also went up to there. Which one's that again? Which one is that? That is our ga. No, re. Sorry, that's the ga, and that's the ma. Ma. Okay, cool. So it is giving us the thing right now, and they're more or less using it how it seems to be appropriate. Yeah, fun stuff. Yeah. And it feels like we're kind of in 4 as well, which is unexpected. Yeah, that D flat really pulling its weight there. Yeah. So they're skipping over the 5, which doesn't exist in their scale, right? And we're going to the da. I think. Let's just check. Yeah. So the da, which is the equivalent of like a 6, I guess, isn't it? 6. So slowly expanding the scale. Okay. That's not it. That is using the tonic too much, isn't it? Okay. All right. So what it looks like here is it's someone who understands broadly the way that the rag is meant to go. Maybe they've read a certain amount about it, but they are using it as a jumping off point rather than as a set of rules. Yeah, so they're again going from the ni to the sa, which we know we're not allowed to do, but it does it admittedly only as a, you know, a quick, like a mordant, but nonetheless it's that. Yeah, it's fun, and at the end of the day, this is probably to a great degree improvised. It's interesting that it's not really a show-off performance. It's more about getting little bits of melody out of these sets of notes. Okay, what just happened? Let's hear that again. Yeah, just for a moment there, everything shifts to the G for 2 beats and then goes back to B flat, including the trumpets. Interesting. So often ending on that D flat. No, it's not a D flat, is it? It's a C flat. Often ending on that C flat. So we're not ashamed and not afraid of dissonance here. You could ask, what is actually the aim? Difficult to pin down, isn't it, really? What's the aim of that G? That it's a really specifically composed moment in this. Why has it happened? I don't know. It's fun though. Maybe if I knew more Hindi words I would be able to tell you, but I don't. Anyway, that is a clear bit of deliberate creation, or prior creation, prior to being recorded. But these other parts are not really. We've got other things going on there. So there's another guitar in the left now, which has come in with a strong an A to compete with that B flat. It's not really competing. It's in a different part of the harmonic spectrum, but it's there nonetheless. Oh yeah, the drums adding a good amount of complexity to the moments in between beats. And quite nicely now leaving larger gaps, mainly sort of 2-beat gaps. 1, 2, bah, bah, which adds to the monotony and the slow moving feeling. There it is again. Cool. Is it doing that? What's our scale again? So if we go up again. Yeah, I'm not convinced that little bit there is actually in the Raag. That is. It's close enough anyway. Low bass, distorted bass, sliding up and down, sliding down and back up. There is really, well, I might be about to change, but there really is just one melodic part. Everything else is subservient to that. I would argue maybe that the drums are also kind of a melodic part because they're giving so much extra information. Maybe a better word for it is like a foreground part. The foreground, even then, it doesn't really feel right because I wouldn't say that the instrument doing this stuff is in the foreground. I would say it's sort of dwarfed by the maximalist noise of that big crunchy guitar in the front. Yeah, so that other guitar on the left now is coming into its own with something entirely out of the mode, but whatever. Okay, just for that moment, down on the low B flat again. And the drums are giving us a little bit more actually now, aren't they? We've got everything, we've got things on one beat and we've got a lot more kick drum as well. There's our moment, G to B flat. Fun stuff. Okay, some tremolo picking from that guitar now. Yeah, and the left one. Gosh, my voice is not the best today. It's coming out with that D. Okay, so there we got it again. It wasn't as clear because the trumpets weren't doing it that time, so we didn't get that dee dee higher pitched noise coming through. It was just the lower guitars. What an interesting ensemble this is. Guitars, bass guitar, drums, another guitar, and some trumpets. Okay, the guitars have now mainly settled on just one note for the B flat. It's not even a power chord now. But we've still got those harmonics coming through. There we had it again. For I think the 5th time now with the higher one. Ooh, feels like it's pushing sharp. Oh, a voice. Ah, where did it go? So it's just giving us the B flat. Maybe with a slight bend, yeah. Bend down to the A. Okay, so that was like something like that, going in and out of accordance with the chord. Oh, it might have been actually, which would be fitting with the appropriateness of the how the melodies are meant to go. Missing out the B flat there. That is, yeah. How have I not seen that what's the word? Triad. Nice. That feels a little bit sharp. Then we got that G chord, and then we shot straight back up. That's an unapproved jump. I think it's okay. I don't really understand. You know what? I'm going to time the gaps between those moments. I'll time it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, Yeah. Wow, some crazy stuff happened there. Like some kind of wah effect on the right-handed guitar, right-hand guitar, in the right headphone there. Yeah, some kind of wow kind of thing. I wanted to comment on it all, but yeah, 34 beats on that B flat before we got back to the G. So with the G, that would be a 36 beat repetition, which is 9 sets of 4. So that's nothing too crazy. Let's see if it does the same. And again, I'll be dying to comment on what's going on, but I won't. Oh! No, that's okay. That's the 3rd. I thought it was the 5th for a moment there. Can't have the 5th. We haven't had the 5th and we can't have it, so that's interesting. Except in those chords, presumably. Alright, here we go again. Oh yeah, the other thing is the voice seems to be seems to have a octave or something on it going. Seem to have both of those. It's going through a little bit of processing to make it pretty weird. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. No, so there, it was only 30. We took out a 4 beat bar. Ha! Okay, fine. We're not playing with absolute measurements here. So that's cool. Maybe it's something that was signaled for in the ensemble. And so they were looking for someone to give a signal to bam. Or maybe it was really focused on just what that guitar was doing. Maybe he convinced people to do it from time to time. I doubt it. We're getting a little bit of interplay between the voice and the guitar, but not really much. They seem to be doing their own thing, and the guitar that is doing a melody has sort of taken a back seat since the voice came in, and the voice has got higher and more excited. We're in, yeah, this kind of area. Maybe not up to the A yet, but da-da. Oh no, that's the wrong bloody key. I've confused myself so much by saying about it in C to begin with. But yeah. Yeah, this kind of area. That kind of area. Although it's back down now, isn't it? Never mind. Again, that wow. It's on the bass, isn't it, actually? Yeah, it's on the bass. Wow. It's quite nice. Gives the bass a little bit to say. That guitar is almost cutting through the melody guitar. Everything's a little bit louder, isn't it? We can thank the drums for that. I think there's a lot more hi-hats and a lot more of everything. Yeah. Really bringing the strain to that G. Lovely. Man after my own heart. Yeah, the guitar and the voice are really just doing their own thing. There's occasional similarities. There we got it again. And we got... which is fun. That actually is quite pleasant, isn't it? Hang on. Oh. Ah, yeah, again. It's really funny that it's tricking me that that's... Because that... Without the B flat... is the Dougie theme tune. Without the B flat. With the B flat it's a little more aggressive. But yeah, hearing it by itself, I guess my mind is separating the long held noise from the melody. It weirdly doesn't feel like they're connected to me. And I'm hearing da 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 da, and I think that's got to be the fifth because 5, 6, 1. But it's not. It's the third. Yeah, interesting. Woo! Nice bit of feedback there in the left. Wow. Aggressive wiring. Yeah, so the left one, much more aggressive guitar, isn't it, than the main melodic one. It occasionally has come through here, and we're getting a lot of that kind of stuff. Aggressive major 7th intervals and minor 9th intervals. That was nice. Something like that, yeah. And over this. Fun. Yeah. Interesting that one is a melodic instrument, but it's only there from time to time. Really not taking a front thing. And also, where's the guy gone? There's no voice anymore. Could that be the bass? It's a pretty high. It's a pretty high, isn't it? Hang on, that can't be the right note. That's the 4th. It is. Moving somewhere else. Or maybe just hinting at the F sharp. Well, still, you're not forgiven. That F sharp's not part of the canon, I'm afraid. Yeah. If that is a bass, it's going crazy. That's really high. So we just check. Oh, apologies. This is a right-handed bass, but yeah, that's really high for a bass, but then it is pretty slidey. Yeah, it would have to be up pretty high. If that's what, 12, 15, 17, 19, 20, 22, and then do a big bend from the 22nd fret, or maybe go up to the 25th fret if you should have them. Yeah, that's pretty extreme high if it is bass, which it might not be. But I can't detect the bass most of the time in here anyway, because there's so much guitar noise. But it's really dominating now. Yeah, okay. It's a guitar, isn't it? There's the 5th. No. Oh, it's not. It's the 3rd. How do they do that? Yeah, sometimes I'm being convinced guess it's because of that G chord. It would be the fifth if that G was our root. That's really an interesting choice. Yeah. So all these notes except for that B flat would work essentially diatonically in G. It's basically a G pentatonic, isn't it? Yeah, wow. Really interesting. Now we haven't heard any of these back moves. What is it? What is it meant to be? I've lost it. God, this is brain destroying. Had those. That's what it is actually, isn't it? We haven't had that happen, which is a shame. Maybe it'll happen in one of the later parts. Drums giving us a little more active rhythm. Drums keeping everything going, really. Keeping the energy up. There's that last G to B flat. Well, it might happen one more time, I suppose. Okay, the melodic guitar has gone a bit weird. There's extra noises coming in here. There's surely our final one. Yeah, drums are just tinkling away. They've basically stopped, and the noise is going strange. I don't really know what is happening, but it sounds sort of like hitting a metal pipe. Oh, and a stop. So the previous two really led into each other, but this is a full stop at the end of this one, with only a little bit of ambient noise going on into the next one. Unisson composition. Okay. Wow. Yeah, so we were... And now... Are we up on B? Yeah. So a semitonal shift up. And there's an E. And a D. Okay. Yeah, you can say it is experimental all you like. But when it comes down to I know that you are just stuck in the rock. What's the word? Not oeuvre. I mean, you're in a rock state of mind, but you're stuck in the rock sensibilities. And you need to be liberated. Okay, we can't just have E, D, B as our chord progression. That is already coded to like classic rock, I'm afraid. One of those cymbals has a really amazing sound. It's got this kind of like, yeah, high C sharp harmonic coming off it. I think even higher than that, really. Okay, we're going A to G. That's something new, I suppose. Fun. But yeah, we are really much more in the what do you call it? Rock stylings now. That can't be. That isn't our Raag Marwa. If that's meant to be the root, we would have the same root as before. Yeah, actually, all the notes would still fit. We're just not using the root as should be, apparently. And we've got just moving harmony, haven't we? Now we're back at B flat all of a sudden. And we're stopping. Okay. Oh, and then it's the B again. Okay. Are we going to get a repeat of what we just had? E. D. B. There's our A. And our G comes next. Yeah. And then we get our riff. There it is. And an A. And we're going to B flat. Fun drums there though. Dump dum. Dump dum. Yeah. Nice little bit. Okay. Pausing. Are we going back to beat? Yes! That is a very funny cut, you know? Much more a fan of that kind of dropout in a piece of music that doesn't conform to, pop stereotypes than in a piece that does. In here, you're not expecting it at all because the vast majority of what we've been hearing has been drone, or at least just very long held resonances. Here we're getting a little bit faster moving through these chords, but they're still held for a long time, and then when we stop for a moment it feels like that's going to be our new texture, but no, we've done it twice now and it's still catching you unawares to some degree. Okay. Fast cymbal movement with the drums, but that's really all that's going fast. We've got the same thing going on. There's our A and our G comes next. We hold on this for a fair amount of time and then we get our riff about here. A. Da-ba-da. B flats. Okay, and we're going to get that takeout again. Are we going to get it again? Just everything stops, apart from the noise. Maybe not this time. We've got these swells in the cymbals. There it is. Ah. Calm. Calm? Ah! Okay. Very strange noise coming in here with a strange kind of filter sweep going on. Could be a voice, but I can't really tell. It's right in the middle. Not really giving us the notes of the Raag either. That one. We've got some interlopers, the F and the C that shouldn't be there really. But an interesting addition nonetheless. There's our B flat. Again, everything stops. Cymbal rolls. Just holding. So this is a really interesting composition from a harmonic movement perspective, from just a altogether movement perspective, because we've got, well, two different main settings. One is we're going through our order of chords from B to D, back to B, and we hold there for a bit, A, and then we're G, and then we have our riff, which moves faster than everything else. Then we're on A for a bit, and then we go up to B, and we hold on B, and B is just like infinite space. Whereas we've had constant movement before that, even when we've had held chords like the G we hold for quite a while, about 6 beats. This B flat feels totally different because there's no clarity from the drums in terms of where the beats are. It feels just vast and empty, an ocean of B flat. But every other chord there, we've had that drum propulsion, and they've taken different amounts of time. Some of them just 2 beats, some of them 6 or maybe close to 8. The only thing that's other than that is I guess our third style of movement, which is that riff, which comes in just once each repetition. Yeah, it's a real interesting study in those things. You could take a lot from it and put it into much more accessible music, no doubt. What's that noise? Some kind of shimmery, nice electronic-y sound design. Goodness knows these trumpeters have got long, big lungs, haven't they? Okay, it feels like we've dropped out already, but there's a lot more going on than normal. Okay, interference on the guitar, our old friend. Yeah, we've still got that B flat continuing on, haven't we? Oh, some kind of fluty thing at the top there, isn't it? Up the octave from that. Okay, this time, seemingly, we're just fading out. We've still got 10 seconds, so I don't want to eat my words. Don't make me eat my words. Yeah. Okay, with that eternal fight between the B flat and the A ringing in our ears, literally. Dream chord. Okay, it's 8 minutes long. It might not take me that long to cover it, because the virtue of this kind of music is that changes are made at a explainable pace. Yeah, it is a virtue. It's wonderful. It gives you space to think about each individual thing, and also to dwell on the majesty of the individual moments that you spend listening, and what small change there is to the sound going on at every individual moment. I bloody love it. Yeah. It's a crazy, crazy sound. It's not actually a flute, but it's something very high. It's just gone down to the A. It's also being held, so we've got really mainly the A and the B at the moment. with that B being quite high, but I guess that might be a feature of the scale. Sounds like a voice. It's a very, very low G, I think. Yeah, that voice changes pitch very subtly, very small changes. That's just come in. Yeah, okay. The D up at the top there. Made a nice G major chord here. That's nice. As already said, the notes of the G major chord or the G major pentatonic scale all fit really nicely in this mode, with the B flat being the one that doesn't. So maybe we're just going to end with something that fits with this, a G major dream chord. Two different voices now, I think. Ooh and ah. Two different noises on them as well, different vowel sounds. There's the E. That bass is a little bit aggressive, isn't it? I think that is, yeah, this is the B flat coming through in the bass. Just pulsating aggressively against our dream chord. So this feels more like the first track, doesn't it, where we're in empty space, things are coming in and going out, and we've got a similar stratification. We've got things very high, things in the middle high range, and then things very, very low. But yeah, it is pretty much that G major chord being held with a little bit of extra from that E and maybe sometimes the A. While that B flat thunders underneath. So really pulling the two halves apart. Is that the E? Yeah. Yeah, there's the A up at the top. So everything's accounted for. Got some strange percussion in the background, haven't we? Could have even been tabla just then, actually. Well, could that have been the bass? Maybe just through a really big reverb. Feels like Age of Empires 1 music, this. Or I was playing a bit of Civilization 2 yesterday, so I managed to get it to work from the old CD, and it's sort of like something that could fit in that. Okay, the drums there just kind of sounds, but they gave us an E flat, which is a new resonance, not what we were expecting. Oh, where's that bass gone? Yeah. It's definitely there now, the E flat. Okay, this feels like a string texture, but again through big reverb. But that feels really like a cello kind of thing. So the sound's probably being quite heavily morphed by electronics here. This is more of a sound design piece, isn't it? Whirring, you know, they could be instruments, and not necessarily nature sounds. Something like that, or maybe a wind-up thing, or it could be birds. They do kind of sound like birds. Okay, that B flat is becoming more of the main note again now. Okay, but they've given us the fifth here, as well as the sharp fourth. So we are departing from that that Raag quite considerably, even if we've got the B flat back. Oh, those thumps. Bum, 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 bum. So we've got more of the horns coming through, haven't we? More of that brass. But this feels more complicated than in the first track because we've got the low, we've got some high stuff, we've got some mid stuff, and we've also got some low mid stuff, which is sort of where these trumpets are and where these voices are. We might have a voice on the bottom doing a bit of the old Kagira, you know, throat singing with undertones. Where are we? Oh, some of that, some of that. So move that. Might have some of that. Or it might be like a didgeridoo or something. Either way, quite a wide palette of noises in this final one. And you know, the thing about dreams, obviously, is they, you know, merge two separate things together. And that is basically what's happening here, merging them, but also seamlessly, just like a dream. Yeah, that E flat tonality is still coming through. Oh, it's giving us a B flat major chord with the E flat. There's our G again, and everything's faded somewhat. We've got a little bit of hissing, a little bit of high stuff, and F. Still with a G, droning, but fading. Maybe in and out, maybe just fading. Yeah. A little bit of a tinny B flat major. Oh, a little bit of... We're shifting up to the B. Oh no, the guitars have come back. C there, not strictly part of the thing either. Okay, and a much softer sine wave-esque bass there, now leaving us with really just the guitar, a voice, and high here, sine-ish. Up on the G. Are we finishing with unison Gs? Oh, is there too? Oh. Maybe something on a D there, but then swell. Yeah. Some ambient noise. Maybe of a church or something. Oh. Bloody hell. Well, what to say? What to say? What to say? Well, goodness me. I mean, it's a big journey, isn't it? Big old journey. Hello, KT0088. Big journey. We've just been on a big journey. I hope you were there for it. Oh, yeah. So how did we start? We started warmly building up this this soundscape, and then we got some big changes in tonality, going from B flat to E to D, and all over. And then we were into the first track, the second track, which I would say is kind of the main track, which had this drone of B flat almost all the way through. But when it didn't have it, it had the G back to B flat, 2-beat change. And over all of that, we were experimenting with the Raag Marwa, and that was pretty comprehensive what that was doing. Different instruments came in and did their bit. We had the guitar melody first, the slightly softer guitar, slightly more plucky sounding, with a little bit of occasional interjection from the more aggressive one on the left. And then there was also the male voice that came in halfway through there. Yeah, so 3 different things playing with the thing, all doing their own particular things, but always coming back to this G to B flat action, which really sort of de-seats the drone. Moving it to G, even if you're doing it for only a short amount of time, it's de-seating, not continuing this one particular harmonic spectrum sound that we expect. The G doesn't conform to that. It gives us a different harmonic spectrum, and so we sort of, well, at least I did, in a way I wasn't expecting, ended up associating the notes with different parts of the scale than they actually are when they're on that B flat. It was really fun. And then the track after that, we were still using the same set of notes, but in a very, very different way. It was a unison composition, that's what it says. And so everything was moving together across. Well, we started on the B flat from before, and then we immediately moved to B, to E, to D, back to B, to A, to G. That's all pretty comfortable. And then we had that riff, which is very, bluesy kind of thing. Still using the same notes of the Raag though, and then that goes to the A, and finally back to the B flat, and we think we're done, and it sort of opens into space as if that's done. Then everything fades, and then it suddenly comes back in on the B, or the C flat, I suppose, just trash you with the unexpected resonance, and it does this about 4 times. And each time it's maybe a little longer and a little more unexpected, because you just expect it to finish and to go into empty space. There's nothing about these compositions that suggests that they need to conform to anything. So when they are doing that, isn't necessarily what's expected. And then when it does finally end, again, it feels like there's a chance of that unexpected reswitch of the chord coming in, but that doesn't happen. It fades into this dream chord piece, which plays around mainly with the G major resonance, with that B flat being a perennial foe in the bass. So there's the connection between the notes of the G major pentatonic and the B flat aggressor to those, all the way through these. Is a really interesting exploration of that uncomfortable feeling, which, though I'm not that familiar with it, I think is at the heart of the Raag Marwa. And reading the literature on it that I did, Wikipedia and such, it seems like that B flat is really highly regarded, very important. The Sa is very important, and not to be used lightly. Arguably it's been used more lightly than it would be here, but it also would be the root, like constant root in a piece of Hindustani music. So So what to say about that? It's an interpolation of a concept from another culture. I think Neptunian maximalism themselves are from Belgium. I'm just going to check that. Yeah, Brussels, Belgium. I think there's a fair chance that they're not entirely Belgian, but it's not actually very easy to find information about bands like this. I don't know where I would find it really, but they are from Belgium, and they were created in 2018 by multi-instrumentalist Guillaume Cazalet, Cazalet is a bit of an odd name. I don't know, but it could well be just Belgium. Anyway, yeah, crazy stuff. Collision then of Indian concepts of composition with metal and just an experimental ethos, creating something that is basically unique and really it was quite a fun exploration, a fun, what's the word? I don't know. A fun experience. I'm really good at wrapping these things up, but I hope that little spiel at the end was enough. Anyway, thank you for coming with me on this journey, and I hope you have a lovely day and a lovely life, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.